Happy celebration.
Thank you.
How has it been? How's it been mixing it up with the fans? This is my favorite weekend of every other year.
It's been great. You know, the energy and the passion of the fans. You see all of this, and really reminds you of why we do what we do.
Yeah, definitely. I believe the first episode of season 2 just came out, like sometime today while I was in this suite. So I've seen people reacting, but what can we expect from this season and the first episode?
Well, I'm really pleased that the documentary, I think, shows what a force George was in advancing the state of the art of the film industry. That there are a lot of aspects of the modern era of cinema that you can trace directly to George's influence. Digital film editing, digital sound editing, the rise of production computer graphics for film, and all the innovation that came through this group of artists that he put together as ILM. That all comes from George.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, go ahead, Rob.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say the fans or the audience of the documentary also see the human side of those of us who are behind the camera and some of us in front of the camera and what we went through working and collaborating together to help bring George's vision to screen. And there's even moments, myself included, where we're not sure we could actually do it.
Right.
And so I think that might be an eye-opener for some of the audience, seeing that aspect of how we make these big movies.
That's the thing is Jar Jar Binks was the first all-digital live-action featured character, and I think that legacy is so important because there's so many characters and films that follow that would not exist without Jar Jar Binks. And I think when you're in it, it's so hard to realize like you're making history. But for you, like, when did that start resonating and you started realizing how impactful that performance and that character was?
Last week.
Okay, yeah. Well.
At the time, I was just so excited to be a part of the cast and a part of the ILM team, and we were so excited making stuff. Like being doing the Phantom Menace at that time was like being in the best film company and best internet startup you can possibly imagine. I mean, every day was an iterative experience. Every day was an invention. Every day we made mistakes and failed up. So it didn't feel like we were really basking in the moment of history. It felt like we had a job to do and we had to do it. And we had to do it to the best of our abilities, and everybody just brought the A game. It's kind of one of those things like you don't really know you're building Microsoft until you see Microsoft, right? So it didn't really dawn on me the historical significance, but what it did do to me was it created an ethic for work, and it made me recognize that with the right amount of people and the right person at the head of it, anything is possible.
You'll also get to see in the documentary that there was an evolution. Initially, Jar Jar was only going to be digital from the neck up.
Yeah.
Ahmed had been cast because George loved his movement and his physicality and his voice, but the character is not going to be digital. But the documentary goes into the process that John and I and many others at ILM went through when we were trying to interpret Ahmed's performance and how we were going to achieve that. And there are technical issues and there's artistic issues. And ultimately, the character ends up being completely digital, but absolutely driven by him. And part of the gauntlet that George threw down when we pitched a fully digital Jar Jar was using motion capture, which was brand new at the time, because we needed to capture my friend's movement here and then apply it to the digital character and then add an animated face on top of it. So it wasn't like we set out from day one to do it that way. And the documentary goes into that. So some of the audience will go, oh, I had no idea.
So impressive. Well, congratulations, guys. Such a pleasure to chat with you. And thank you for stopping by.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Star Wars Celebration. We are here with the one, the only Vanessa Marshall.
Hello.
How are you feeling? This is Celebration. It is day one.
Oh, Never better.
Are you waking up randomly at 4 a.m? We're in Japan.
No, 1 a.m.
1 a.m.
1 a.m. I woke up and I was ready to do your taxes, whatever you needed. I had to remind myself that I needed to sleep 5 more hours. So,
Right.
yeah.
So do you know how many celebrations this is for you?
This, let's see, first was 2015, I believe.
Yep.
And then 2017, 2019, and now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had that pandemic thing.
Yeah,
Bummer.
That thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's such a fun celebration. Why it's called Celebration. What is your favorite part about this weekend and this experience with the fans?
I love the Star Wars fans. They're my family and my chosen family. So it's very much like Star Wars Rebels itself. I feel that I've met them at all the different celebrations, and I have all the gifts that they ever gave me in my house all over the place. And I get really emotional because I never forget a face, and yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I feel so blessed and so lucky, not only to have participated in the telling of a great story for Star Wars Rebels, but also the wonderful people I've met at these events along the way. So,
and you're so active in the fan base and the community. And I mean, how have you seen the character of Hera and the way people like it's evolved so much? I think since you started playing her to now. I mean, what is? It's such a big question to be like, what does she mean to you? But she's evolved a lot, I think.
Well, it's funny because at the conventions, I'm known as obviously Space Mom. And I'm known for my Mary Poppins handbag, out of which, like, depending on if you're keto, I've got keto snacks for you.
Okay, I was like, what do I need?
No. Do you need chewing gum? Do you need sewing kit? I'm not a mom, but I'm such a mom.
You're maternal.
Well, so it's been interesting to realize, I guess it's a nurturing quality or a caretaking quality, but I have come to see how I'm very much like Hera. I'm taking care of my crew everywhere I go, and my crew is pretty huge these days.
Yes,
I mean it's a vast universe of individuals, as we see, and it's a worldwide phenomenon. So my bag gets bigger and bigger.
Keep getting that bag.
Yeah.
You just started something really awesome, a rewatch podcast of Rebels. I have.
Yes.
Pod of Rebellion here.
That's right. Pod of Rebellion. I was at a convention with Tia and with Taylor, Sabine, and Ezra. And we were sitting with Dante Brasco, who has an iHeart podcast for his show Avatar. And he was like, you guys have a 10-year anniversary coming up. Why don't you have a rewatch podcast? So I phoned up iHeart. I took the pitch meeting. I said, we want to tell the stories behind the stories. We want to celebrate the people who are not as recognized or well known, some of the behind the scenes people, celebrate inclusivity and diversity. And the whole thing came together. And Freddie Prinze Jr.'s best friend is a guy called John Brody. And John is our moderator. And it's such a nice balance. I mean, if you like 80s film references, the guy gold medals in that. And he's just got the most insane references. And our conversations range anywhere from, comparing our characters to different basketball players to the other day, Taylor started spitting out facts about Descartes and Sartre and Socrates. And so anything is possible, anything goes. But I think what we are coming to remember is how much fun we had in the execution of reading those words on the page out loud, having seen them once before. And then now, 10 years later, with all the incredible Star Wars content that we've been blessed to enjoy between then and now, everything just has such a warmer, sweeter feeling to it, and bittersweet because it's over, but also it's still quite powerful. And it was actually rated #1 for iHeart in the category of TV and film. That's awesome. I think as much as we love the fans, I think the feeling is mutual, and that was very gratifying to see that we weren't crazy, that we would love one more chance for us all to get together and kind of reminisce and celebrate the whole phenomenon that was Star Wars Rebels.
Right. Well, I mean, you talk about it being over, but Hera, I mean, she popped up in the Bad Batch.
This is true.
And there are theories that, I don't know, maybe you're here for more than just hanging out.
Oh, really?
Do you think that there's a place to...
Well, I don't want to brag, y'all, but jealous much? I just got the Ronin from Hasbro. Mic drop.
Did you see that complete, that zigzag?
Bro, I just got the Ronin. That is not a zigzag. That is a slam dunk.
Dunk.
Yes.
Well, let me ask you about this theory. This is Molly Brazel. Come here. Get behind me, Molly.
I love your shirt. Look at this shirt.
You were telling me your theory, and I think it's better coming from you.
Okay, let's go.
Thanks, girl. Yeah, so hello. First of all, a huge fan. Obviously, love Bad Batch and love Rebels and watched with my dad. But yeah, so with the Bad Batch having just ended last year, right? And in the Bad Batch season 1, which I literally just rewatched these episodes too, we saw that Hera and Omega became really close friends. And at the end of Bad Batch, Omega goes off to the rebellion. So my theory is that we may see some stories in the future, maybe, of Omega and Hera in the rebellion together. And I want to know your thoughts on that.
I would cry. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I think you should call Dave Filoni and give him that golden nugget.
Listen, it all matches up. I've done the math, girl. Like, you know,
really?
It just makes a lot of
hope
sense.
you're correct. I do. That would be incredible. That their relationship was so sweet, and it was so much fun to discover just how much moxie and strength she had as a teen, or was she quite shy and withholding, and then she sort of blossomed into this rebellion leader of sorts, and discovering that with her was really sweet. So I like your idea.
Yes. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Molly.
Thank you.
And thank you,
Good theory.
Vanessa. So
Yes.
great to talk to you. And
Thank you
have
so
a
much.
wonderful celebration.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Arigato.
Sam Witwer, you son of a... How long...
Wait. If you're gonna say that, can we do it right? You'd be
Yeah.
like, Sam Witwer, you son of a. How are you?
Yes.
That's right.
That was good.
That's good.
That
right.
was good.
Do it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. How long have you known
Known what?
Maul?
Oh.
I mean, let's talk about that moment first of all when you came out on stage. No one was expecting it.
You know what's
The
funny?
room erupted.
I moderated the ILM panel before that, and there was a small degree of concern that me wearing the jacket that I always used to wear when I promoted Maul years ago, like, wait, if you wear that jacket, are they going to know? And we're like, let's hint. Let's wear the jacket. Let's wear the jacket.
Okay.
So yeah, so we were.
That's very Taylor Swift of you.
Oh, how about really?
She does little Easter eggs and
So that makes the Shadow Council like Swifties, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Wow, guys, did you hear this? This is Star Wars legend happening right in front of you. This is lore.
There you go.
Yeah, it felt pretty good to stand up there and glare at the audience. That felt very good. I've been on the project for a year,
Okay.
and it's been really cool because the Star Wars folks. I mean, these are the same people I've been working with for 16 years. I started 17 or 18 years ago on The Force Unleashed, but then got moved over to Clone Wars a year after that.
Yeah.
So I've been around these folks forever. These are old friends. Matt Miknovitz, who wrote on the Clone Wars, he's our head writer. He's coming up with all this crazy stuff. And so, you feel like you're in really good hands there. And then you see the scripts and you go, oh, okay, great. Thank you. We really appreciate this, Matt. Thank you for being here. You have Brad Rao in charge of the whole thing as our filmmaker, our on-the-ground Dave Filoni apprentice.
Yeah.
And Brad is brilliant. Brad is one of the best filmmakers I've ever been near. So seeing how he sees things and how he shoots Star Wars and how he constructs scenes and how he frames and creates action sequences, it's really extraordinary. But moreover, his view on and Dave's view on how this show is going to look and feel. David Collins, who was the lead sound on
David Collins.
Yes, he was
Yeah.
the lead sound on Force Unleashed.
Yeah.
And then he eventually played Proxy. He's the lead sound on Shadowlord.
Right.
And he might play a character, you never know. Anyway, I didn't say anything. There's a weird symmetry between Force Unleashed and this project in that way.
Okay.
I'm just going to say that. David is very involved in unexpected ways. And, and then you have our host of directors, Stuart Lee, for example, is doing an amazing job. Joel Aaron was infusing every frame with this painterly, just malice and just thick shadows and reds and purples and all kinds of incredible lighting. You got Keith Kellogg pushing the animation further than he's ever pushed it.
Yeah.
And then you have our general, Athena Portillo, who I've known forever.
Love Athena.
Yeah, she's just, it's so cool to have a producer who's not going to allow you to fail.
Yeah.
Where she is inspiring every department to go further than they've ever gone. And then, of course, when we need, overseeing us all, and sometimes very much on the ground, getting his hands in the editorial and doing crazy stuff, Athena will call in the Emperor, Dave Filoni, who conceived of this whole show. And so I feel very supported. And it's, they've always been collaborative. So, even when we were creating our version of Maul for the Clone Wars and studying Ray Park's amazing performance and Peter Serafinos' amazing voice, and me and Dave having all these talks about who might this character be and what can we bring to it, how can we create this character for the Clone Wars. And so it's always been collaborative, but in this case it was a little different, where it was like, okay, well listen, now you've been playing the character for 15 years. You need to be in deeper on all of these this entire process. So I have never been so deep inside a Lucasfilm production.
Yeah.
So it's constant emails and phone calls, meetings and records, and it's very exciting.
As someone who, you know the lore more than anyone that you're right there up there with Dave, in my opinion.
Don't.
Why haven't you?
I don't know.
Why, okay, I don't mean to put that pressure on you.
You
But why
could
haven't
destroy me.
Why haven't you taken a crack at like directing, writing, and kind of getting?
Well, I am
Do you want
slowly
to?
moving into, say, producer stuff. Like, for example, there was a Star Trek short film that I helped produce with the Roddenberry Archive. I don't know if you know about this. It was called Unification. And I played, with William Shatner as our executive producer, I played Captain Kirk in this short, which now is about 27 million views. Unlisted video, you have to look for it, but look for it on the Otoy website, OTOY. But I'm getting more into producing and stuff, and so yes, I want to get into all of those things. But like anything, sometimes some of those rooms you have to wait for an invite. So I'm very, very happy that Lucasfilm has been inviting me into more rooms and letting me learn about their process, and being at animation kickoffs, and being sitting with people in editorial here and there. They let me in, shoot reference, all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
I love
Saying
it.
way too much.
I have to let you go already.
Oh God!
I hate it.
Well, I'll give you this.
Tell me something.
Maul is a classically trained Force user.
Sure is.
He comes from a time of knights and magic
We
and
pulling
dragons.
on that Crimson Dawn thread? That's really left unsaid. There's.
Crimson Dawn, huh? Interesting. Crimson Dawn. Might they show up? Who knows? We don't know. But Maul is a classically trained Force user who came from a time of knights and dragons and magic. And now he's seeing an empire that is sucking the magic and the life and the color out of the galaxy. Maul knew that empire was coming, and he was working for it for a while with Palpatine. Now that he sees it, how does he feel about it? And how does he feel about a world where his sworn enemy, the Jedi Knights, are gone? How does he feel about the Jedi now? How does he feel about his whole life? That is basically where we start the series. So,
Always a pleasure.
thank you.
Enjoy your celebration.
Hi, Pedro. How are you?
Hi.
My name is Molly,
Hi, Molly.
and I'm going to say it's a huge pleasure to finally meet you, because you and I actually interacted 5 years ago.
Over Zoom?
Over Twitter. I posted
Twitter.
a video of myself after I got my wisdom teeth out on Twitter.
You're joking.
And you saw it. And I was crying because I could not pronounce your name correctly.
Oh my God.
And now we're both here at Star Wars Celebration
I feel
Japan.
like I'm meeting a celebrity.
I feel like I'm meeting us. Like, what are you saying, Pedro? It's literally, that's how long I've been following this story, been following your work, been following.
We're just living a matrix, aren't we?
Din Djarin is my favorite
Here we are
character of
in
all time,
Tokyo.
Pedro. And here we are talking, like,
It's incredible.
literally, I'm a storyteller.
Are you you're recovered? You're all good?
I am all good. Yeah, don't worry.
Perfect,
like, we're good.
perfect.
The teeth are teething. Like,
Yeah.
everything is fine. So.
When my sister woke up from getting her wisdom teeth, she was telling everybody that they all had to turn on MTV because she was going to be dancing on it. So
Oh my
clearly
gosh.
that was the dream she was having under the anesthesia.
Yeah, I don't know. I had my Mandalorian shirt on, and I said, you know what? I need to pull out my phone and record a video for Pedro right now. And then,
And here
the rest
we
is
are.
history, and here we are. So, as I said, Din Djarin is my favorite character of all time, period. And I was so excited to see in the room a new picture of you, helmetless in the suit, looking dashing. And I just wanted
I
to
never
know.
saw that picture.
Well, it looks amazing.
Oh, thank you.
You're eating.
You got to see it.
Yeah, I got this.
We got to see it for the first time together.
Oh my gosh, how special. That is
So
amazing. And so season 3 of The Mandalorian, though, was the first time there was no helmetless scene,
I know.
which was like, I get it,
Painful?
but painful.
Oh, good.
So I'm wondering for the movie, any chances that we might get to see it?
Well, I hope so. I really do.
Yeah.
I know everything that there is to know, and I'm not going to tell you any of it because I want you to experience it. I want everyone to experience the incredible surprises that are in store in one of the greatest adventure movies that has ever been made.
Oh yeah.
I mean that.
Oh yeah. I believe it. And listen, I just have one more quick question.
Yeah.
So Din obviously is going on Grogu's apprentice journeys with him, and he's his dad now and his mentor, which is so incredible. And I just want to know what you might think of Din's apprentice journeys when he was a Mandalorian apprentice. What do you think of that time, and who do you think that Din's Mandalorian mentor was?
Oh gosh, that's such a good question. I think that the community of Mandalorians was his apprentice, and that he shaped his identity on the deep value system that is the creed of the Mandalorians, and ultimately provided him with all of the skill to work for the good or the bad if the price was right, and also to give him the value system that would connect him so deeply to such an innocent and wise creature like Grogu, and really, really find the way.
The way. This is the way. Well, thank you again so much, Pedro.
So nice to finally meet you.
I know, so nice to finally meet you. It really is a huge honor, and I wish you all the best. I'll be following your journey as I have been the last few years.
Thank you.
You're
Likewise.
welcome. Oh, thank you. So because I am such a big fan, and I know that we have lots to wonder about in the galaxy, I kind of have like a generic question to start with. So the Mandalorians, what makes yours so different is this helmet rule that was established for the show. And I'm just really curious to know, how did that helmet rule come to be? What made you think of it?
So it's interesting because when you're telling a story about Mandalorians, as Dave Filoni, is very helpful with, because he was there from the beginning to help me through it, there are certain, each generation of storytelling in Star Wars has a different feel, but you want to create a cohesive, consistent set of reality.
Right, yeah.
So I like the notion of him wearing the helmet all the time, because when I grew up, the Star Wars films were very much that the helmet was part of the character. So you think of Darth Vader, you think of Boba Fett, you think of stormtroopers, the droids. To me, as a young audience member, those were the characters, those are my figures. But then later, you got other, when the Mandalorians are explored in Clone Wars, people are taking the helmets off, and also the culture around the Mandalorians changed. And my connection was Boba Fett growing up. And so, as I was coming up with my story, the idea that he wouldn't take the helmet off, that we have the helmet on as part of the image of it. Not like Jango Fett, where you connect to the face, but like Boba Fett, you connect to the helmet. And so, why is he wearing the helmet? The culture started to develop, the warrior culture around that, but it was inconsistent with other things that we had seen. And so, the story that then inspired stories as you answer the question of, well, they're saying they can't take the helmet off. I've seen Bo-Katan without her helmet. And so, you actually, season 2, have them meet and talk about it and explore what those opportunities are. So it's always trying to be respectful of what everyone who watches and knows Star Wars, because the audience knows it so well. Make sure that we don't ignore everything that they know, but also use it as inspiration for storytelling and ultimately creating character stories, mythic stories, archetype. Use it to inspire the archetypes that these characters are. I think Star Wars works well when it works on a very when it feels like it operates on more of a mythic level. That's what George has established.
Absolutely, that's an incredible answer. Thank you so much. And I do have another question. Din Djarin is my favorite fictional character of all time. He's an incredible character. I know that you've been creating him for such a long time. And one question that actually came up after season 3 because when Din officially adopted Grogu, he was named Din Grogu.
Yes.
So a lot of people have been asking about his name.
Yes.
Is Din technically his first name or his last
that's
name?
interesting.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull Dave in to help me answer.
Okay,
this one.
yes, that's fine. Get the whole duo in. Which, by the way, fantastic name. I love the name Din Djarin.
Thank you.
It's
That's a fundamental thing about the story. It's not just take characters that we haven't seen a lot of and show that, but it's developing, the talent.
Dave, I have a phone a friend.
What do you
help me
got?
answer
What
a
do you
question?
need? Yeah. What do you got?
She's asking her questions are too. I don't want to answer this unthoughtfully.
Okay.
She said, when Din Grogu, when Grogu was named Din Grogu in season 3, is Din his first name or is it his last name?
Oh.
And do we use Din at the end of the name?
Do you want to define that?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking you. I want to phone a friend like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. So I'm afraid if I answer this wrong, these are very thoughtful questions.
Well, one of the things I could say is that it would largely depend on which planet you're on culturally, maybe, and how they would use the names in order. You might flip it depending where you are. It's kind of, I put that in the same bank that I would put Twi'lek or Twi'lek.
Right, yes.
I don't want to define that because if you're on one side of the planet or the other, you might say Twi'lek, you might say Twi'lek. Why define that? Because in our world, you see so many different things, so many different way things are spoken and named, and to make this a real viable galaxy that feels like our own, that feels believable, we have to account for these differences. And so I think that I would allow it to be different, and we could come to a planet where they do swap it, and it would feel like an honorific. It might also be more of an honorific or a way of respecting station.
Like Don.
Exactly.
We did talk about this on Go Forward. We thought, from a storytelling standpoint, we thought it was also cool that people would expect the opposite.
Yes.
And Din Grogu also sounds really cool.
It does.
And also Din Grogu feels like something he could age into. And depending on what path he takes, it could feel appropriate for a lot of different things.
I love this, by the way.
Oh, I knew. Listen,
Okay.
Mr. Filoni, you walked across the carpet and I saw you clock it, and I was like, he knows that I've got a little one to sit in right now, but he's on the belt.
Oh, look
yeah,
there.
but
Look there, Bad Batch.
yes.
All right. Thank you
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah,
Sean.
great questions.
Good.
Of course.
All good? Yeah. All right. And now,
Babe, now I can.
one more. Yeah,
Yeah, of course, I can steal you.
Say the Bad Batch
So
bandana.
I knew.
It's a bonus question. You're allowed a bonus question.
Oh, thank you. So, Dave, first of all, huge honor, as you can tell, huge fan. Hunter is my second favorite Star Wars character behind Din. So,
Yeah, okay,
they're very
okay.
similar. But I do have a question about Grogu. So,
Okay.
we know that Grogu has kind of chosen the path of the Mandalorian now. That's where he seems to be headed. But we saw Sabine Wren and Ahsoka starting to become another Mandalorian Jedi. So do you think that there's room for Grogu to also become a Mandalorian Jedi one day?
So right now we're...
The short answer is sure. Why not? Anything's possible.
True.
They're both very different, and their paths are very different. They're arguably going in slightly different directions.
Yeah.
With Sabine, it's a special case because I really wanted to talk about the fact that by definition of the Force that Obi-Wan gives, we all have it.
Right.
It's within everybody, but we don't all tap into it. And then there are people with talent. The talent furthers them in certain things, just like it does in our own world. But the idea is if you train and study, you can access this ability. But as Qui-Gon reminds us, it's very difficult. It's a very hard life to be a Jedi, so most people don't do it. There are many things we could do in our own lives that would make our lives better. Why don't we just do those things? Because they're very difficult, they're challenging. And so when I'm attacking the idea with Sabine, it's that, she will never be a Jedi like Ezra or like Ahsoka. Maybe she trains very hard, but she's different. So is that bad? What is the training doing for her? These are the kind of questions that we have to ask ourselves. But everybody just thinks, oh, you're trained to be used Force and now you're going to be a Jedi. But it's not that easy. If it was that easy, we'd have a lot more Jedi. So I think of these things all the time. Luckily, it's my job, and I've made it work for me. So there you go.
True. So can I clock in my bonus question?
Real fast.
Okay, so super fast. I'm so sorry. I'll make it really
You're
quick.
all right. Don't be sorry.
So, Darksaber. We know it's
Darksaber?
inspired by Excalibur, those
Okay.
legends. And in those legends, the sword was destroyed and
Okay.
a new one was made. So do we think that there may be a new Darksaber to come?
Well, now it sounds like the people from licensing sent you because they would love there to be another lightsaber. We'll see. It's not impossible. Nothing's impossible in story, right? We'll just have to wait and see. Be a great story. Maybe someone does it long after I'm gone. I never know where this is going to go.
Yeah.
We'll have to see.
Well, I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
your time, Dave,
My
and your
pleasure.
contributions.
My pleasure. No, thank
You're
you.
legendary.
Thank
Thank you. So I just wanted to ask, as the future expands, as ILM is celebrating 50 years soon, like all these incredible things are happening. What are you both most looking forward to in terms of where Star Wars is going to be taking off? We have Mandalorian Grogu is going to be in IMAX. It's very exciting things. And how has your work on these projects that are coming up? How does that feel like? Is it gratifying for the work that you've done and the progress you've made over all this time?
I've really enjoyed my involvement on the project.
Right.
Some of it because it's just really fun to do, but a lot of it is just because of all the people that I work with. We have this great team of artists, and being around really talented people all the time is just really energizing. And, every day I go into work and see this artist working on, wow, that is really cool, and oh, that's really cool, and it's you can't help get swept up in enthusiasm from that.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I totally understand that. It's like all these incredible things are happening. How about for you?
Well, I was 13 when the first Star Wars came out, so I was inspired by ILM's work, and then I saw the name of the company in Empire Strikes Back and Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I was like, oh, I gotta figure out how. I grew up in Canada, so how do I figure out how to get to a company like that, doing all this innovative work? Fast forward 50 years, and ILM's still doing innovative work, and is always working with filmmakers on what's the next thing. How do we create the visuals that they need to tell their stories, right? So it's an honor and a privilege to be part of this amazing company with this history and this incredible work they've done, right?
Yeah.
Or we've done.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm super excited about the next 50 years. I won't be at the company for the next 50 years, but I am. It's not slowing down. We have 5 studios around the world. We're always working on something like 40 or 50 projects across the 5 studios. Many of them are Star Wars or Lucasfilm projects, but some are not. And we get to collaborate with people. John's in San Francisco, I'm in Sydney, but we talk, and there's 2 of us are creative directors, but there's creative directors in each studio, and we're always just presenting what our teams are doing on a monthly basis. And there's so many times when I look at the work that's come in from another studio, another ILM studio, wow, that is amazing work. Can't wait to share what my team's doing. So we all inspire each other.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's such a great collaborative, creative process. And you can see that really with ILM and how it's developed over the years, and just this amazing relationship. And as somebody who's, been with the Star Cruiser partially, involved, I see that and the love that goes into these projects that are made. So speaking on that love, though, and all of your experience and all the things that you've contributed to this galaxy, can you think of a specific maybe moment or scene from any one of the movies or shows or anything that when you just see it, it just brings you right back to that moment and you just treasure it forever? I know it's kind of a loaded question. There's a lot, I'm sure.
I can jump in first. I mean, for me, it'll be the Yoda fight. I mean, we knew coming out of Phantom Menace that George wanted to have a Yoda that could run around and fight.
Right.
But at that time, he was going to be puppet and digital. And myself and John and others, a small group of us were like, let's go for the whole thing. Let's go and try and make a digital Yoda that could perform and hold its own in single shots, both verbal and nonverbal. But then ultimately, the fight itself will always be something that I was really nervous about, because had we convinced ourselves we had something pretty cool and it was going to get laughed at by the audiences, well, it played incredibly well. And I will always remember the first paying audience. I snuck into the theater, nobody knew I was there, and hearing the roar, it's still just goosebumps. It just gets me. Yeah,
that's incredible. How about you?
I'll say when we were working on Rogue One, there was the Vader hallway fight at the end, and as we were working on it, this is pretty cool. I think people are gonna like this, and then just seeing the reactions in the theater when the film came out was really very rewarding.
You were right. My father, as many stories go, he raised me in Star Wars, and Darth Vader's his favorite character. In that scene, I've never seen my dad light up the way he did, which is funny because it's kind of a brutal scene, but that's just the magic of it. So Revenge of the Sith is celebrating 25 years this year, which
Yeah,
or not 25, sorry, 20.
20,
Gosh,
20.
I'm 25 this year. I was thinking that's my first Star Wars movie ever in a theater. So I kind of want to know, as somebody who had this experience as a 5-year-old in the first PG-13 Star Wars movie, the one thing I remember is the Mustafar scene where, of course, Anakin becomes Vader, if you know what I mean. That scene in the lava. So that was hilarious because obviously I was terrified at the time, but now I've come to appreciate the marvel of it. And when you were making that scene, were you thinking of maybe kids like me? And I know George has talked before, George Lucas has talked before
I was
about the
worried
audience.
about traumatizing kids.
You were a little young to see that scene.
I was 5.
You were a little young.
My older brother ran out of the theater, which is, it's okay. He loves that movie now. We all love it. It was funny. The movie is incredible, but the experience, looking back.
I remember when Hayden showed up on set with his burned makeup. And, and we all know it's all make-believe, and it's just a makeup on him. And he shows up in this thing, and we call him Tandoori Chicken Man.
That's so funny.
He looked like he'd been a little overcooked. But yeah, I was like, wow, this is going to be too intense for younger viewers.
Yeah.
My son was 7 when it came out. There's no way I was going to let him see that. So he had to wait a little longer.
Yeah. To be fair, I was young and definitely an experience I remember, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. Even if I was a little scared of Revenge of the Sith for a few years, I got over it. It's now one of my favorite Star Wars movies, actually with Attack of the Clones. I guess I'll just ask one thing about Attack of the Clones, since it is probably, if I'm going to go watch a Star Wars movie, I'm going to watch Attack of the Clones. I don't know why. It's very special to me. I love clones. I've got some clone representation here. But what was it like to bring Kamino to life? Because Kamino, of course, is now a very central planet in Star Wars, and very important, especially in animation. And Kamino and the clones, what was that like for Attack of the Clones? To give life to these characters that are so beloved?
I was there when we shot all the plates, but when we got into post, Pablo Hellman came on and he did the Camino scene. So I didn't work on him after we had wrapped principal film.
My memory is working with actress Rena Owen. So she played one of them, Lama Su. And we had her walking around. She had a blue construction hat, if I remember, and a foam core head extender, and trying to sort of coach her on what we were thinking was the gait of those long, tall characters. She totally got into it and was really, really fun. I was also there, we were there, when they shot Obi-Wan having the fight on the deck, trying to leave with Slave One. And it was like wet, and it was amazing to sit there and be part of it.
I can imagine. I would pinch myself if I was there. But I really appreciate your time so much. Thank you both very much for all you do, and I look forward to seeing what else is to come.
Lots of you.
Yes, I'm excited.
Okay,
Thank
good.
you.
Cool.